My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. This is ongoing demonic pacing, not going anywhere, stalking in the path. After the demons provided light activity and audible activity by the Ontario Police using Ontario Police Department vehicles. That's criminal activity using the resources of a city engaging in public corruption, i.e. gang stalking. And that's why the helicopter activity is remaining here. They were gang stalking together while you're looking at demons engaging the elements of monitoring. It's 2:07 a.m. where a police department is stalking an American citizen who has conclusively proven it. And that ongoing terrorism remains underway. And the federal government is knowledgeable about this. And it's going to be at the forefront at sentencing of domestic terrorism in the United States. This is P.O.C. This is happening in Engineer Light. This is where I documented the fake sun rising. This is where I've documented the fake sun setting right there at Starbucks. This is P.O.C. They use the sirens and speeding, breaking the speed limit. There's no emergency. They were gang stalking. That's criminal summoning. And the ongoing helicopter remains where I am, where they're gang stalking just like the Ontario police did moments ago, using sirens. Those are demon-possessed police officers. They're going to federal prison. So is the demon that's at ARCO on video engaging in criminal summoning earlier. He's going to federal prison. This is just ongoing surveillance by demons that are hostile. They look at everything that's published online. I'm gonna let you know what's wrong with them. And they sit around ruminating, sitting around thinking about in hostility and aggression. And the demon possessed who are psychopathic just choose and desire and decide to engage in more documented criminal conduct. And this is the ongoing vicious cycle of psychopathic behavior. This is the mental illness of the demon possessed that has culminated into their own prosecution. They've prosecuted themselves. This is P.O.C. This is the disbanding of the mentally ill Ontario Police Department. This is P.O.C. They're going to be disbanded for the criminal facilitation and the ongoing incentivizing of criminal conduct, terrorism, sexual violence. And sharing in the mentally ill population. That's why the Ontario Police is being disbanded. It's currently 2:09 a.m. These demons are stalking in a helicopter, wasting money. And it's also a waste because it's not accomplishing the sacrifice that these demons sought to engage in. And now it's just plain acts of criminal monitoring that's going on the internet as a template for how domestic terrorism shall be prosecuted, where it is no longer a secret or a mystery that the United States is engaging in surveillance, unlawful surveillance. And amongst that surveillance system, the government is engaged in targeting American citizens. And they did it for pay. And they're still doing it for pay. Those are demons that are stalking with light with the police. They're sharing in that condition. They're sharing in criminal engagement in that pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. The same exact impossible light activity, not headlights. A demon stalking. These are pedophiles. These are pedophiles. The gang stalking pedophiles in California. And this is, understand, the demons that are monitoring my vagina 24 hours a day. The demon that's stalking in this helicopter is going to federal prison and is going to be subject to severe mental examinations. Serious examinations, which is going to be routine with regard to stalking an American citizen using the resources of the police department, including helicopters, which is the hallmark of the demons targeting in California. And monitoring my genitalia, that is far beyond what is adequate in order to be permanently removed from your duties as law enforcement in any jurisdiction in the United States. This is P.O.C. This is what the Ontario Police Department are doing when they're crossing paths, sounding sirens. Light activity, relevant positioning, audible activity is my voice. The Ontario Police Department do the same thing in an Ontario Police Department vehicle. Crossing path, light activity, relevant positioning, and the sirens are the audible activity, while the same demons are monitoring. Using a helicopter, pacing all around on the roads, and engineered light. Okay, this is P.O.C. And that are incapable of what is essentially, this is again mental illness with regard to delusion. Okay, so it's not just psychopathic, it's also delusional behavior. This prosecution is already complete. My shadow is appearing underneath the covered structure in the dark, underneath what is a light structure, artificial light. This is not creating, what are these multiple shadows that are overlapping? You're looking at demonic pacing by the Ontario Police, who engaged in psychopathic behavior, not in any rush to an emergency. That was the iteration of the pattern of conduct by corrupt police departments that are demons who are gang stalking. Light activity, audible activity, relevant positioning, which the people of the state are doing as a population. Okay, they just have sirens on their vehicles and red and blue lights. They're going to be removed from those positions, however. It is currently 2:12 a.m. This is P.O.C. That's the fake moon. Also where the fake sun is rising in the morning in alignment to me. Those are indeed demons. And this is the criminal conduct, the psychological torture, the obsessive stalking, the inherently threatening behavior of stalkers who are engaging in what is a sacrifice. This is what Tracy Banks paid for. This is what Jason Isaac feels. This is what they paid for. This is what they solicited to target through a police department that is demon possessed just like them, like the people of the state, gang stalking me. And this is why the Monrovia Police Department are doing the same thing in Monrovia, California, under a fake sun, which is an entirely impossible environment to naturally occur. This is speaking to the mentally ill that are maliciously targeting American citizens in a manner that's supposed to result in what is falsely depicting their character. But justice shall include the removal of such laws in order to enable corrupt governments like the city of Ontario, like the state of California, to any longer falsely depict the character of American citizens and engage in any sort of kidnappings, keeping them against their will, where you are defaming their character because you're targeting them. This is P.O.C. And this is plain targeting. This is not law enforcement, and there's nothing going on over here other than the pattern of conduct of stalking me like the Ontario police are doing every day and night. P.O.C., that's crossing path. 9SW 5090, I believe. I can't really see that license plate that clearly. It's currently 2:14 p.m. This is the outward demonstration of mental illness. This is going on the playlist where the entity is exhibiting mental illness by the demonic pacing. All right, I maintain a playlist because this is how heavily the entity has been stalking me in California and exhibiting the pattern of conduct of psychopathic pacing, flying in circles all around, doing so in an engineered environment. This is the P.O.C. There, you see the shadows that are arriving as I move. Okay, that's the entity that is gang stalking. This is surveillance. And Mike Lorenz is demonstrating mental illness while the demons that are working for that department, they're all of the same condition. It is literally demon possession by association. It is demon possession by department. It is demon possession by city, by municipality. The pattern of conduct is shared. This is where the fake sun rises and sets on this street. And they are foolish enough to be on video again. They're being disbanded. And this is ongoing impunity. This is why Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac are going to federal prison. They're going to federal prison. And these are demons that have engaged in what is a practice of witchcraft, trying to secretly and maliciously murder someone with no hands. And that witchcraft is going to affect their lives. It's not going to take my life, it's affect their lives. And that's all I'm going to state about that. Information, the practicing of witchcraft by the demons of the Ontario Police Department, the city of Ontario, the people of the state. They're practicing witchcraft while you're seeing them present in this environment. This is exposing what is no longer secretly engaging in witchcraft right in front of your face. This is demonic, and so is their engagement. In doing so, by the way, in that specific environment where the fake sun rises and sets on the same street is the fake moon and a psychopath that's engaging in criminal activity that's serving to disband the entire department and put every documented gang stalker of the Ontario police in prison. This one video, but I have thousands of them. Okay? The entities engaging in this and understand that this is speaking to the mental illness and the criminal pattern of conduct. And the entities doing so while they are watching themselves being exposed. It's not only psychopathic and delusional conduct, they do it with full knowledge of everything that's being documented against them. P.O.C. The entity is going to federal prison. That includes Jason Isaac and Tracy Banks. This is an unlawful threat to my life. While you solicit a government, you pay them to engage in this conduct with the people of the state. Okay, KKW is a third-party gang stalker doing so with demons that are pacing. This psychopath is pacing all night long. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because the demons are mentally ill. It's very demented behavior, and they look foolish as they're engaging in it now in front of the whole world. Okay, Satan has been made a mockery of. Satan is not a formidable adversary. Satan is only as powerful as he is permitted to be. If you don't know what he's doing and if you don't know his tactics, they look foolish and they look obvious with regard to what is no longer a secret anywhere in any corner in this nation, that corrupt police departments are engaging in surveillance in the U.S., not law enforcement. This is all right, I just want to document the entity is engaged in ongoing terrorism, and this is again the psychopathic pattern of conduct by demons who in their mind that are demented. These are the same sex offenders, these are pedophiles that engage in sexual violence against me, monitoring my vagina as a population and as a police department who are demon possessed in the whole demonic environment, okay? The entity is doing so under their demented mindset that they're retaliating based on what it is I publish on the internet. They're being disbanded, Okay, this is again the entity that has blatant disrespect, by the way, for the federal government. This is also relevant. This is the entity openly communicating that they will stalk, they will harass, they will threaten, they will murder, they will engage in kidnapping, they will harass and terrorize anybody that they want to, as though there are no consequences for it. That's exactly what's being communicated expressly and impliedly through the criminal conduct of the Ontario Police Department, who are engaged in what was over 9 minutes of stalking, pacing right here. And this is what the entity does with regard to, in a psychopath's mind, as though they're retaliating. And this is retaliation against the federal government. It's retaliation against what? A federal investigator? It's retaliation amongst an ongoing federal investigation against gang stalkers who are engaged in systematic murders, like the Ontario Police. Ongoing the organized crime of gang stalking and not law enforcement. These are the demons that engage in these acts of retaliation, as I'm documenting criminal conduct by that police department while they're hostile to what's published on the internet, and it's staying on the internet. And so are these criminal acts of retaliation in violation of federal stalking. That's the entity that's targeting, not going anywhere, and did not go anywhere for over 9 minutes right here stalking under what is, again, the fake moon. The fake. All right, amplified audible activity. These are demons that are, again, monitoring my communication devices with the demons of the Ontario Police. This is not traffic on Euclid Avenue under the fake moon and an engineered light. These are the demon-possessed that are maintaining the ongoing surveillance system, which is committed in furtherance of murder, which the Ontario Police Department are still engaging in, okay, in real time. And they're doing so having been compensated by and acting in concert with Tracy Banks, Jason Isaac Fields, the entity that has conspired my death in order to steal my property. And it's relevant evidence pursuant to federal prison for Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks, while the entity is still acting toward that delusional prospect. But it is nonetheless criminal, and it's nonetheless what is ongoing conduct committed as an entity. Tracy Banks is going to federal prison for what the Ontario Police Department are doing, which she is doing as an entity. She's going to federal prison for what the people of the state are doing. And as I'm documenting, it's ongoing surveillance. So I want to document the entity at approximately 2:46 a.m. I captured video at what is 1:57 a.m. criminal summoning. The video that you just listened to. I captured video again because the Ontario Police Department engaged in criminal summoning as what is the ongoing audible light activity while they are monitoring together. And this is after they sat up and listened to my podcast on the internet. And those demons that are furious, that are hostile, these are demon possessed. I want to be clear. This is anger that inspires murder. These are not normal or healthy people. These are the demon possessed, and they happen to be people that wear police uniforms. This is relevant to the mental illness that's being exposed. Mental illness that's going to be addressed by removing the corrupt actors of the Ontario Police and those that are in positions where they pose a threat to the public, like demons gang stalking as EMTs, operating ambulances, like demons, which you are engaging in that right now on traffic cameras, 2:51 a.m. stalking, going in the direction north on Euclid Avenue, monitoring this evidence under the fake moon, psychopath stalking in ambulances, okay? And AMR is shown to be doing the same thing under the fake sun as well, and what is all manner of impossible light activity, stalking with the Ontario Police, who are monitoring while those demons in an ambulance are doing the same thing that they were doing on video, using a police department vehicle to engage in the iteration of gang stalking by demons who are a part of the government, the police departments who engage in the elements of light, audible activity, and relevant positioning, the demonic conduct of surveillance by demons who are engaging in what is the practice of witchcraft. And this is this ritualistic conduct that they're engaging in right in plain view. And they are doing so with regard to a sacrifice that the demon possessed are executing against an American citizen. And it is prosecuted under the law. It is prosecuted, proven with tangible evidence as a criminal conspiracy to commit murder. And doing so while they are being compensated, have been compensated, and did so with expectation of being further compensated for sacrificing me. And this is the criminal conduct that the Ontario Police Department are engaging in. At approximately, after I captured the two videos, 1:57 a.m. and again 2:07 p.m. 1:57 a.m. and 2:07 a.m. where I'm at 415 North Euclid Avenue, where the entity, remember, the entity is engaging in what is remaining where I remain. So when I'm at the Tepor Professional Building, this is the pattern that the entity is engaging in, flying in circles over me at that building, flying in circles over me at Woodside Senior Apartments, flying in circles over me at the OVITT Family Community Library, flying in circles over me at the Economy Inn, at
over by the 60 freeway, flying in circles over me while I am at Starbucks, which is, again, north of where I'm located, right here on the same block. The entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct, doing so while I want to be clear, 2 o'clock in the morning, I published my podcast. There are 3 listeners that already listen. Who do you think is listening to my podcast at 3 o'clock in the morning immediately upon publishing it? People that are likely engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct. Demons that are intimately acquainted with my vagina, and they also know what I captured on video while they were committing that federal offense. And they did so and then engaged in the documented act of retaliation. At 2 o'clock in the morning, someone's paying very close attention to my podcast, listening to it in real time the moment that is published on YouTube, okay? So I just want to speak to that. It does not necessarily require, I know that it's specifically the Ontario Police, those demons in particular, but I want to be clear. First of all, you're dealing with a spirit. So Tracy Banks listening to my podcast on YouTube is the same entity. You're dealing with demonic activity. What one demon knows, you're dealing with the spiritual. They all share this knowledge. In the same way that you're prosecuting a conspiracy, what one co-defendant commits, all of those co-defendants, all those co-conspirators commit it together. But I just want to be clear. You're dealing with an entity of demons. You're not dealing with normal behavior, meaning I listen to a podcast and somebody in Nebraska that's not the same person, I don't talk to them. They don't have the shared knowledge that I have. They didn't listen to it. In other words, they don't know what I know having listened to the podcast. You're dealing with demons. You're dealing with an entity. And the demon, one demon listening to it, they share knowledge. You're dealing with a demonic spirit. This is what's happening when you're seeing traffic. You're dealing with a demonic spirit. Everybody on the road is one entity. They're all stalking together, sharing knowledge, and their focal point is me as well. Very demented. And at 1:57 a.m., 2:07 a.m., and again at approximately 2:46 a.m., the entity is engaging what is pacing back and forth, flying over the storefronts where I'm located. This is what I documented the other night at the Starbucks where I am standing outside. I'm documenting specifically Jason Isaac Fields. I went into extensive commentary and analysis regarding his criminal conduct, the federal government protecting this terrorist, protecting this sex offender, protecting this corrupt government actor, while exposing me to the ongoing unlawful threat to my life, while the Ontario Police are doing exactly what they're doing and the federal government is watching it and permitting it. The federal government's going to be prosecuted because there was never any grounds for, first of all, for gang stalking. But second of all, remember, the entity is gang stalking under the guise, oh, we're going to investigate Tracy Banks based on the conservatorship that we're going to investigate Erica Spencer based on the conservatorship that Tracy Banks wants to maintain in order to investigate as to whether Erica Spencer is actually competent enough to handle the property that's supposed to be bequeathed to her, or that she's supposed to inherit, that the court should be handing over to her. This is something that was all secretly underway behind my back. The entity never telling me about any property. Tracy Banks, the government never telling me about a conservatorship. But I being made very much aware that I'm being targeted, and I've been documenting that, and the evidence of that documentation has also been suppressed on the internet. But the demons of the Ontario Police Department know exactly what's being published on the internet, including at 2 o'clock in the morning, where I've already got 3 people that have listened to it. The entity on YouTube very much manipulates the viewers, by the way, the views. So I want to keep that in mind. But I'm looking at it online, and the entity is immediately listening to what I publish, and the entity immediately engages in what is retaliation. And what I documented at Starbucks the other night, I believe that was Thursday night before Friday, when the entity engaged in what is stalking. That was August 14th. That's amplified audible activity and engineered light, the demons that are monitoring with the Ontario Police Department under the fake moon. And as I am documenting, again, this terrorist, Jason Isaac Fields, is going to federal prison as a gang-stalking federal official who abused his position, having an inherent conflict, having sex with somebody that is interested in receiving property that doesn't belong to her through a secret conservatorship, and is maintaining a sexual relationship with this person, Tracy Banks, and is also a fake friend of mine while he's defaming my character, targeting me as a corrupt government actor, and also engaging what is an unlawful conflict, not only because of his criminal monitoring, but also because of the fact that he is a fake friend, formerly acquainted with me, knows me personally. This is an inherent conflict, in addition to his sexual activity, his ongoing sexual relationship with Tracy Banks, where he is intentionally and deliberately and at the wishes of Tracy Banks targeting me, and doing so by defaming my character, while he is relying on the criminal activity of the Ontario Police. While I am speaking extensively about this, which I believe is on August 14th, 2025, this is where the Ontario Police fly over me, which I capture on video at 8:16 and again, 10:16, and again they fly over the storefront again where I'm located. Not at Starbucks. They're not flying over the storefront at Starbucks. like they were the other night. They're flying over me where I'm located, which you always know is shown through the specific environment as well. Where the fake sun is where they're stalking. It's who the focal point is. Where the fake moon is speaking to who the focal point is, and it is always me. It's not anybody else. And the entirety of the specific environment is proof of that. Demons that lack self-control, demons that are entirely psychopathic, engage in documented criminal acts of retaliation based on knowledge of surveillance that is documented and published on the internet. And a psychopath, only a mentally ill psychopath, very delusional, would engage in that level of criminal conduct, like the demons, the psychopaths of the Ontario police, those who are pedophiles. They are pedophiles, and those pedophiles set up and listened to what I stated, and they engaged in 9 minutes of pacing on in helicopter, criminal summoning. That was an act of aggression by a demon, not response to an emergency. It was light activity, audible activity, and relevant positioning, while they're breaking the speed limit to engage in what is a matter of public corruption. Maliciously doing so under the guise of some sort of, there's no emergency. Who are they responding to? Who are they pulling over in traffic stops? Who are they handcuffing and talking to on the sidewalk? Who are they tending to when they're picking them up by the fire department? The demon-possessed people of the state. The demons that you already know are gang stalking. All that they do is about me. And that's what's speaking to the mental illness. And there's no question about that. And that's not a figment of anybody's imagination. And you've seen the direct evidence of it. Those demons set up and listened to my podcast and made a decision to engage in more stalking conduct, which is captured on video. Okay, this is what the entity did, and they flew over again at 2:46 a.m. after I captured those. That was 1:57, 2:07 a.m. And the entity engages in what is ongoing targeting by flying over again. And this is what the entity does. As I document, I capture the video, and then I start publishing. I convert it to audio to add it to the podcast. The demon flies over by helicopter. This is exactly what I was describing the other night when I'm publishing evidence about Jason Isaac Fields, who is gang stalking me, still acting in furtherance, hoping that I drop dead through some witchcraft that they're practicing, hoping that I have a breakdown because the entity is still gang stalking. He does not want to sit in federal court. He does not want to face federal charges that I'm going to bring against him. He does not want to answer for the things that he has committed. By the way, there is no defense for him. There is no lie that will ever substantiate his violation of his job as a government actor. There is no spell work that's any defense in federal court for violating your ethical duties as a government actor. There is no alibi with regard to what is a violation of an American citizen, myself. Well, because he cannot control what are his sexual impulses, and he doesn't know when to turn down money. He doesn't know when to turn down a temptation. He is not only incompetent, he is engaging in what is corrupt conduct that I am still suffering the repercussions of, and he's going to federal prison for it. And like I documented on August 14, 2025, those same terrorists that Jason Isaac Fields compensated, Tracy Banks, this entity has compensated the Ontario police. These psychopaths listen to my documentation, and they engage in more of it. They engage in more of that criminal conduct. That ongoing psychopathic, delusional behavior is exactly why they are being disbanded. That was an act of aggression by a demon using what is criminal summoning as an iteration of the same exact conduct. Okay? Stalking, monitoring, demons, psychological torture. And they're concentrating helicopter activity over the storefront, which is what I captured on video, flying again, a psychopath in their mind as though they're going to get me back for what I just published on. That's a psychopath. They're sick. They are sick. They're not retaliating against anything. First of all, these demons lost. All that witchcraft is going right back to them. And Lord have mercy on them. Okay? But not only that, they're going to be prosecuted. They're being prosecuted. And the federal government, I hope you do make a stance, because they are showing how literally you are irrelevant to the criminal conduct that they're engaging in. Now, there's going to be a break, an implosion of this criminal system, because the federal government has been gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department, gang stalking with the Monrovia Police Department, gang stalking with the Los Angeles Police Department, gang stalking with the San Bernardino, Upland, Chino, Fontana Police Department, gang stalking with the Arcadia and Monrovia, already stated Monrovia, with the Arcadia Police Department and the Pasadena Police Department, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, the San Diego Police Department, San Diego County Sheriff, the Orange County Police and Orange County Sheriff's Department, Costa Mesa Police Department specifically. I documented them. The Kern County Sheriff's Department, the federal government's been gang stalking me with all these corrupt law enforcement agencies, including Jason Isaac Fields. engaged in targeting me for years. These delusional psychopaths that tell themselves in their mind, this is why they decide I'm going to be on video again, documented gang stalking for 9 minutes. There's nothing other than targeting in that video for 9 minutes where they're not going anywhere. That's evidence of surveillance. And it's also relevant. There's no coincidences here. When you've got a fake son sitting over me while I'm in one building for 11 hours, everything in that environment and everybody in that environment is stalking me, like I've already proven beyond a reasonable doubt, by the way. Those demons with the delusion in their mind that they're engaging in some level of retaliation. While these demons are practicing witchcraft, they think that they're siphoning some measure of energy that's going to save them from literally that death magic ricocheting right back to them, from avoiding federal prison. They're delusional. This is a prosecution with tangible evidence. You're going to prison. And there is no witchcraft that's going to cause you to avoid that inevitable consequence. This is mental illness. This is mental illness. This is the entity that has engaged in too many illusions, too many Disney movies, too many fables. Okay? And really what they've engaged in murdering too many people. And they are incapable of dealing with reality. This is what you're witnessing. They're incapable of dealing with reality. And I'm going to prosecute Jason Isaac Fields and the federal government that permitted him to target me. Okay, the federal government, because the federal government has been targeting American citizens for years. So Jason Isaac Fields, he's just a little pissant that got a job because he was targeting me, and the federal government enabled that, hired him to do that. And he's even incompetent in his corruption. And that's good because I'm going to prosecute him. The entity is engaged in targeting me, though, while I document and publish evidence about terrorists like Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks. These demons who are delusional. You've heard Tracy Banks in her mental illness when she is given facts about things that she has actually committed, which is going to be the substance of her federal prosecution, things that you heard her deny, like her sexual relationship with Jason Isaac Fields. You heard her engage in what is calling me names and calling me out of my name because I'm letting you know and exposing the fact that she's a sex offender. Having sex with people that she doesn't want to have sexual relations with me, or wants to, like, it's some sick thing in her mind comparing, oh no, have sex with me, I'm better than Erica, even though I'm 60 years old and have an overly used. I'm going to leave that alone. This is an entity that's engaged. She's a psychopath, and you've heard the things that come out of her mouth. And it's going to be, we're going to revisit those things while I was speaking the truth the entire time. Yeah, it's ugly because she's done ugly things. So I'm not going to edit it. I'm not going to mince words with Satan either. And you remember, if you play the tape back, because I have all the documentation published, everything that she said when she was stating it. And this psychopath engages in deflection. When she's approached with things that she has committed, what does she do? She calls names and reflects it right back. Well, it takes one to know one. Actually, it does not take a whore to know a whore. You can be a completely wholesome, godly woman and identify a whore. That has nothing to do with actual information. But this is the mental illness. This is the mind state of a petty, demon-possessed psychopath like Tracy Banks. That's the entity that is stalking in helicopters. That's the entity that cannot deal with factual information. That's the character flaw of psychopaths who are going to be prosecuted for their inability to deal with facts, for their inability to grasp reality, their inability to accept the fact that it's actually over. And there is no amount of witchcraft. You're not siphoning any energy. You're not changing anything. It's already done. It's already conclusive. They're experiencing in the natural, the formality of what is already a given over consequence. I stated years ago how this is going to end. These are demons that thought in the face of the facts. These are demons that engage in too much witchcraft. This is speaking to the inherent threat to the kingdom of darkness, those that engage dabbling in witchcraft, your inability to actually cope with reality because you're always dealing in illusions. The whole specific environment is built on illusions. The fake sun, the engineer light, it's all an illusion right in front of your face. These demons that are driving by with their headlights, it's engineer light. These are demons that deal in illusions. Their use of witchcraft, they want to appear one way, but they're entirely the opposite of what they want to be perceived as on the surface. They deal in illusions. So those illusions are totally shattered. Okay, and this is an inability to actually cope with that. They would rather, I just want to be clear, this is a federal prosecution. Do you understand? Even if the entity were quote unquote successful in siphoning what they think they're, I'm going to risk going to federal, it's not even a risk, you're going to federal prison. But you're going to go to federal prison now just so that you can accomplish siphoning some energy, because this is what these demons are doing. This is what they call themselves doing. There is no amount of witchcraft or siphoning anything, because I call this hocus pocus. It's really underneath my feet. Christ has already, he has already been victorious over all this. Death has already been defeated. These demons were never going to be successful. And I want to be clear, even if there were some sort of fable whereby, oh, we're siphoning all your energy, and so I'm going to pass it on the sidewalk, and then I'm just going to be exhausted and say I get a migraine or something ridiculous like that. They're still going to prison. This is what's so unfortunate about the demon possessed, the mentally ill that have no business in law enforcement at all, because that's literally what you just witnessed. They listen to everything that I state. They're obsessed with my vagina. They are also not only addicted to stalking me because they're demons. You're not dealing with human beings, you're dealing with demons. You're dealing with spirits that have totally altered the minds of those who are specifically working for a police department that I'm prosecuting by name. They're being disbanded. And their mental illness is put on the forefront. Everybody, you are looking at evidence of mental illness while on video for over 9 minutes, you're pacing back and forth. You're not going anywhere. You're stalking in a parking lot under the fake moon on the same street where the fake sun rises and sets over me, amongst a body of evidence, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and I mean that, hundreds of videos of the Ontario police doing the exact same thing. A prolonged and fully established pattern of conduct relevant to what I just published moments earlier regarding the podcast. And those demons that are psychopathic and delusional, incapable of accepting reality, there is nothing that they're doing that is going to avoid federal prosecution, federal prison for every kidnapper that put their hand on me, and also disbanding of the department altogether. These are the demons who are, again, very much deceived by the enemy. And the reason why the spiritual aspect of this criminal system is relevant is because you need to understand that these are people, their brains are fried. They are absolutely crazy. And this is not an exaggeration. Okay, the entities engaging in this as though it's not a small thing, and it's not lawful at all, and it's also criminal misuse of resources for a police department to be stalking an American citizen at any time, for any reason, at any location, in any manner, let alone using helicopters, which is the highest threat posed by a necessarily mentally sick department that is engaging in a statewide pattern of conduct with the intent to obstruct justice, to literally strike fear in the heart of an American citizen that's being targeted. That's why you're stalking somebody in a helicopter. You're trying to scare the crap out of them. Like you're going to drop bombs on them, like you're going to do, like there's about to be a raid and they haven't committed a crime. No, the Ontario Police Department are going to be raided. They're going to be raided. They're literally waiting for that. And the psychopaths who are demon possessed, they engage in what I captured on video. Ongoing, obvious criminal conduct for which there is no reasonable question regarding what it is that you're witnessing, because they're scared. That's what the demon possessed do. That's what psychopaths do. That's what Jason Isaac Fields is doing. These are demons that engage in more of that, hoping that it'll work. There is no hope for the wicked. There's no hope here. There's no changing the consequence. There is no avoiding the prosecution. There is no avoiding federal prison. Jason Isaac Fields is going to federal prison. Tracy Banks is going to federal prison. They're going. And this criminal conduct that they solicited, they are the ones that thought that their genitalia were so powerful. These Jezebel spirits, their genitalia was so powerful. And they were going to overpower me and cause a whole breakdown of my mental. Their genitalia is going to affect my mind state. Those are the demons that have been watching one too many Disney flicks, incapable of dealing with reality, with real life. There is a body of evidence, even while they try to suppress that evidence. There is facts and information that told these demons from the beginning that this was not going to go well. If you're engaging in some sort of secret system like this, you are not supposed to have any trace of it whatsoever. It's all over the internet. It's all over the internet. The entity thought they were going to kill me and then assume my identity, and it was just going to that was never going to happen, nor was that reasonable. That wasn't even reasonable to think in your mind to entertain that. But these are demons that deal in illusions. These are demons that engage in typically just murdering and making people disappear. You're not murdering me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to prosecute you. I'm going to prosecute you by name, by city, by department, by position, by address, by neighborhood. I'm going to prosecute you by business name. I'm going to prosecute you by family name. I'm going to prosecute you as a state. The entities engaged in this pattern of conduct, and these are the mentally ill that engage in that obvious conduct. The pattern of conduct of the Ontario Police, they have so many patterns within the patterns. So first of all, they're stalking from place to place. They're doing so under the fake sun. All right, LAPD stalking me under the fake sun, with the Ontario Police Department stalking under the fake sun. The Ontario Police Department is being disbanded. The Monrovia Police Department stalking me under the fake sun. The Ontario Police Department stalking me under the fake sun. The Ontario Police Department is being disbanded. The Fontana Police Department stalking me under the fake sun. The Ontario Police Department stalking me under the fake sun. The Ontario Police Department is being disbanded. Every demon that put their hand on me and engaged in kidnapping are going to federal prison. Everyone engaging in what they think is clever, criminal summoning. While you're stalking and monitoring and harassing, you're still obsessively engaged in this psychopathic conduct, like you're going to stalk and monitor somebody, an American citizen, in any manner while you're bearing weapons representing law enforcement. You're going to federal prison. And the demons that solicit that terrorism, like Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Phillips, are going to federal prison. And this is what the demons want. They want this type of negative attention, and they believe in their minds, where psychopaths are delusional, that they're siphoning some sort of energy that's going to change the result. It's not going to happen. They're going to federal prison, and they were told this years ago. They were warned years ago, and you're going to witness more than just federal imprisonment of these domestic terrorists. You're going to witness some horrendous results that these demons brought on themselves because they refused to repent. They refused to stop engaging in what God told them to stop doing a long time ago. And it might not have been such a serious repercussion, might not have been such a serious result with regard to what are the necessary means of judgment. It might not have been so extreme. It might not have been so violent. It might not have been so painful. All right? But this is what these demons brought on themselves. They brought it on themselves. I want to be clear, do not forget about the gang stalking immigrant population. While you're seeing that the Ontario Police Department gang stalking with this level of impunity, these delusional psychopaths that think we're siphoning energy, and that's we're going to work with this energy. And this is what they're delusional. This is mental illness, literally. And this is why this is why the Lord says in scripture to not and I'm paraphrasing, but do not dabble in witchcraft. Don't dabble in it in any form. These are demons that are not well, and they've been in darkness for a very long time. And now they're facing judgment that they have heaped on themselves. All I do is point my camera in the air. You're watching them openly engage in what is an obvious and effortless criminal conduct. It's effortless for me to capture it and prosecute. I don't even need the evidence. I have over 7,000 videos, and I have more I'm adding to the body of evidence. And it's supposed to create both a means whereby to study so that everyone can be informed, but it's also a means of what is an epic prosecution. These demons are going to prison, and they are being disbanded, and gang stalking immigrants are being deported. As you see the Ontario Police gang stalking, they share as an entity that same level of impunity and disregard for the federal government, for the Constitution, for the rights of others that they are targeting. You're being deported. Your co-defendant is always putting out evidence to serve for your deportation. Because this is what gang stalking immigrants are doing. They're targeting, just as these lawless demons calling themselves a police department are. Okay, with the same level of delusion. Oh no, there's very real consequences. And there is no work of witchcraft. You're not getting any positive attention. And by the way, there is no deflecting or returning or retaliating against what is judgment. And speaking in these demons' terms, there's no return to sender for a return to sender. I don't practice witchcraft, but these demons are delusional. They're delusional. And while you're doing that, I'm capturing video after video after video, speaking to what a pattern of conduct that no American citizen could make up. You can't make that up. You don't have an ongoing coincidence over and over and over and over and over again. This is an entity that's engaged in that. And I just want to be clear. The maniacal psychopaths go to the extent to then repeat criminal conduct. And this is at the leadership of Mike Lorenz. These demons are at his leadership. This demon, this sex offender, this ongoing, these pedophiles are engaging in this conduct while they're sitting back watching me publish the information. And then a psychopath tells himself in their mind that they're going to get me back by stalking more in helicopter, which I then capture on video and publish that on the video of the internet, while they do so with the intent to obstruct justice. The ongoing pattern. The ongoing pattern. They're being disbanded, and their works of witchcraft are highly ineffective. And they are highly unintelligent. And they are openly on display. The whole world is watching, and you're watching the open embarrassment of Satan and all of his imps. Satan is no formidable adversary. He is not. He is fully exposed, and he's been embarrassed. And these fools continuously engage in obvious criminal conduct. That this is what I was trained to do. This is exactly why I came here, to make sure that they never exist. The Ontario Police Department is being wiped off the map. They will not exist anymore. And they have demonstrated how mentally deranged that they are. And they are a threat to the public. They are a threat to the public. This is what they're doing at 2 o'clock in the morning, stalking me under a whole fake environment. These are demons. They're demons. It is currently 3:18 a.m. This is speaking to the entity that's more obsessed with me than knowledgeable and cognizant of the fact that there is no work of witchcraft that's going to change what is judgment, irrevocable judgment, unchangeable judgment. And there's nothing that's going, but again, when you are mentally ill, when you're delusional, you're always thinking, oh, no, there's something else that I can do. Oh, no, we're going to do it. This is not the ordinary case. I'm not the ordinary target individual. I'm documenting you because I'm prosecuting you. It's being kept on a record. It's being maintained, detailed, and analyzed and studied. And it's being assessed with regard to what is criminal activity. This is not what these demons are. They're delusional. This is what I mean. Very, very sick. Very, very sick. And this is analyzing what is openly sick behaviors. Gang stalking in the first place. Stalking with light, stalking with noise, and stalking as an entity. This is the living dead. And the living dead are calling itself the Ontario Police Department. Those zombies are being disbanded. It is currently 3:19 a.m. This is relevant to Jason Isaac Fields threatening my life and safety, Tracy Banks threatening my life and safety, these delusional psychopaths that are targeting me together as an entity, and delusional with regard to thinking that some work of witchcraft, and it's witchcraft because this is a demonic environment. The engineer light I'm showing you at the same time while I'm prosecuting with regard to tangible evidence, volitional conduct, criminal acts that are proven in the physical, and I'm letting you, these are demons, and this is the practice of witchcraft. This entire environment is demonic. Okay, so they're engaging in this P.O.C. and this is failed witchcraft tactics where demons are delusional, and they're engaging in conduct which is obvious, relevant. And why is it not good that it's obvious? Because you're going to be prosecuted with obvious criminal conduct. These demons are delusional. They're delusional. They're still obsessing over me. Guess what? I've always been a passionate prosecutor. I've always been a zealous advocate. You're not getting any energy, Satan. They're delusional. And this is, again, relevant for the rest of the world to witness, where psychopaths belong in mental asylums, where criminals belong in federal prison that are conspiring the death of American citizens. This is what politicians share in. This is what celebrities in California share in. And this is happening throughout this country. This is P.O.C. It's currently 3:21 a.m.
License plate 8DWM034 9GHE122 8NAX015 7NBS390 8YSN081 8WLR798. License plates. The fake sun is over me at the facilitating venue where the people of the state reside in relevant position, where they're engaged in heavy surveillance, aiding the Ontario police by being in the parking lot where the housing authority is. The people of the state living in relevant position were gang stalking all night, including 7K60318, 8WLR798, and 6W95138. And the fake sun is over me now at the same position where the fake moon was last night, where the Ontario police demons These are the pedophiles engaging in this satanic targeting system on video, engaged in multiple acts of terrorism, using helicopter to gang stalk an American citizen, and the people of the state share in that. Psychopaths living over here in relevant position, and they don't even have to live in relevant position because it's a population of demons. They're driving down the street, engaging in what is something analogous to like double dutch, taking turns, just driving down the street and going through the alley and stalking in the path. You don't have any coincidental presence in a perfect alignment with me from the housing department in the middle of the night at that, while the entity is stalking in helicopter and with the demons of American medical response under the fake moon, where the fake sun hours later is also rising over me. That's the entity that's engaged in the pattern of chronic demons that are engaged in surveillance. 6WHH975, 6KGH937, 31140N2. And then the people of the state live in relevant position. The fake sun is in alignment to me as I'm facing the direction I am facing. Let me see. At, which street is this? East Street? Yeah, I'm facing east. The fake sun is right in front of it's on my face while I'm on, again, down an alley I've never been down, never went down behind the housing authority before. No difference with regard to the fake sun, all right? The fake sun that stays on one street, which is Euclid Avenue as of late, nowhere near possibly could there ever be a sun based on what the entity is doing, that there could ever be a sun that's visible or even going to be present in any other city, let alone any other street in any other city, because it's remaining on Euclid Avenue. And the entity has the fake sun over me in Monrovia, California, okay? You cannot see the sun through the hotel window at Courtyard by Marriott in Monrovia, off of the 210 freeway from Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California. The sun is not maintaining some universal place of vision and the same identical angle over everyone everywhere, remaining at the same time stationary over everyone all day long, and also dynamic, moving ceaselessly, which the sun is always in movement. This is not the environment where the demons, including the demons of the Ontario Police, are stalking. License 99443X2, including the demons of the City of Ontario, using commercial planes, sharing in what is a publicized failed sacrifice, that the commercial airlines that are engaging in sacrificing American citizens through plane crashes as well, that's where they are targeting. That's the significance of stalking using commercial planes. 8DRM583. License 9NJJ962. 87685J3, 9HET888, 9SDK787, 6EWD827, 9JES 10. We're the only one get this license plate. 7CDX013. All right, and documenting all, documenting the, knowledge, which the federal government has knowledge of. The entity is acting as one, so the demons that are stalking in the path, as I'm documenting at night at the housing authority, in the parking lot of the San Bernardino County Housing Authority, at the Lemon Avenue office, because that's where it's in alignment to where I'm at, where the entity is engaging in surveillance, keeping the fake sun where it's rising over me in the morning on Euclid Avenue. And I took a picture of that because that's where the fake moon was last night. And that's where the entity is engaging in what is ongoing surveillance in an entirely unintelligent as, again, another day of documentation, following me, stalking in planes in a very clear manner, stalking literally as I go from place to place. The entity is flying miles away from the airport to engage in the maintenance of commercial flights, stalking me in planes, stalking me in helicopters, and repeatedly so. The more that I document, the more that they engage in these delusional acts of retaliation. Oh, now I'm going to do it again because you could put it on the internet, and I put all of it on the internet. And it's also relevant to a prosecution, because there's no question that the City of Ontario are full of demons who are caught engaging in surveillance, and they don't even care. License 9KBY926, 8TUG591, 5MXV543, 3RZS600, 8WNZ482, 02518U3, 74535M3, 9GXM013. Now, I take back my former statement that I have never been behind the Housing Authority, because what I just realized is that I'm coming up on this would be D Street and Plum, and I documented this neighborhood, replete with the Ontario Police Department gang stalking by helicopter as they were infuriated as I walked through this neighborhood at nightfall. And believe me, all these demons came out with regard to knowledge of who I am, to maintain presence as I'm, again, infuriating them because I'm documenting them at their homes. I've been through this neighborhood, and the entity engages in a pattern, which you'll see when I go through documenting in the neighborhoods. The entity will use helicopter flying over me while these demons are in their homes, which are facilitating venues. And you'll find yourself prosecuted and subject to federal prison. License, but I documented that, and I have been in this neighborhood before where the entity has the fake sun right now. I've been over here at this corner. 13227L2, 8HGL686. And these are all gang members. All of them are gang members. All of them documented gang stalking. And this is the same entity. License 1617539. That's the Ontario Montclair School District, which you know is a gang stalker. License 8ZUY788. License 18090L3. The Ontario Montclair School District pedophiles that are working for the school district. All right, they engage in the sexually violent and psychopathic pattern of conduct at the Ontario Town Square under the fake sun that you know remains there for 12 hours. And they're also driving school buses. Pedophiles that should not have any access to children whatsoever. And this is what's so imperative about exposing the system and also removing sex offenders, removing domestic terrorists, removing psychopaths from the positions where they are continuously and currently maintaining an ongoing threat to not only themselves but the public. License 1617542. That's another demon driving another school bus. And I documented them molesting me with impossible light, stalking and terrorizing with the entity using helicopter in the same manner that every other sex offender does. And they're in whatever vehicle that they're driving. It's no different while those demons drive buses and have children aboard. Sharing in criminal activity right along with them. City of Ontario stalking, also monitoring my vagina all day long under the fake sun that's at the OVITT Family Community Library right now at 6:58 a.m. 9 TRB 809. The municipality is not engaged in nothing other than surveillance, and it's the removal of Paul Leon from office for that. His incompetence is based on his criminal activity and his mental illness, because this is a psychopathic and demented criminal pattern of conduct. And gang stalking mayors shall not remain in office. 8J59338. Paul Leon is also an example as to why no mayor should be in office for longer than 2 terms. He's been in office for 20 years, and this is an entirely corrupt and bankrupt criminal, okay? This is the entity that's engaged in criminal conduct in over 20 years of this festering impunity with regard to a law and order, okay? While the entity is engaging in this P.O.C, it's been underway the entire time that Paul Leon has been in office, all right? It is currently 6:58 a.m., 32161U2, and this is also relevant to changing the maximum amount of terms of mayors, especially in a state such as California where they are engaged in state surveillance. It is currently 6:59 a.m. on Monday, August 18, 2025. This is P.O.C. All right, at the Ontario Town Square where the fake sun is present in the evening. This is P.O.C. and that is Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines is doing the same thing at 10 o'clock in the morning. This is the entity that's gang stalking. Go ahead and capture this video. That's amplified plane activity. And that is the entity that is targeting with regard to where it is that I'm walking at the time that I'm walking there in the environment where I am walking. The entity is hovering over the sky space because you're flying miles away from the airport to engage in what is crossing path. This is the entity that is indeed gang stalking. Here we go right here. That's Southwest Airlines that is flying again. There, as I'm walking right here, and they're all walking in engineer light. This is the same Ontario OVITT Family Community Library. That's not sunlight, that's engineer light. They're all walking in engineer light. I documented the Southwest Airlines gang stalking, and the moment that I document and remind you that everybody else that is gang stalking with them, including Securitas that engaged in criminal summoning with the Ontario Police under a fake sun that is surveillance. That is a psychopathic iteration of a malicious means of stalking with the police when you're engaging in what is a means of harassing and terrorizing by summoning the gang stalkers themselves. With regard to my presence at the venue, Securitas is engaged in third-party conduct, and that's relevant for federal prison, where you're gang stalking with the corrupt police department that commit kidnappings, and they are gang stalking in furtherance of murder. This is 7 a.m. and 3 hours from now, the fake sun is still at Ontario Town Square. Not only at this venue, which is the OVITT Family Community Library as well right here, it's over me at this venue where Southwest Airlines has documented gang stalking, and the Ontario Police Department are right here at 9:59, 10 a.m. as I'm walking to this venue where the fake sun is remaining. 3 hours from now, it'll still be here over me, over my head right here. And this is where the Ontario Police are engaging in the documented acts of federal stalking, where they engage in the pattern of flying over my head, engaging what is helicopter activity as they exhibit demon possession and employ helicopter as the means of audible noise in the engineer light under the fake sun with demons like Southwest Airlines. While I am exposing what they are already exposing to you, I'm just giving you what is context about what you're witnessing. It's demonic, and it's also happening while the entity is flying miles away from the airport at 2500 Airport Drive, and where the sun would not be present 3 hours later. All right, and remember that this is, again, it's 7:03 a.m. This is not in Florida, nor is it going to be in Florida because it's still over this entrance where I am walking out after 6 p.m. That's where Securitas is gang stalking, the one with the white mop on her head. That's a third-party gang stalker. Doing so while representing a company. That's the pattern of conduct. This is demonic. License 9EVL544. And Southwest Airlines represents the city of Ontario. That's the people of the state gang stalking with the government, the city of Ontario, over what is a senior citizen complex. They're hovering over in commercial planes and then flying in this direction, which is where the fake sun is located. That's where you recognize Southwest Airlines in a body of evidence targeting me in an effort to engage in what is the conspiracy to murder while they're sacrificing an American citizen. All right? This is currently 7:04 a.m. This is while the Ontario Fire Department are crossing paths, gang stalk, parking in this parking garage, and walking back to Michael GERKEN, where he's going to be relieved from office. That's how the Ontario Fire Department are malicious demons, monitoring systematically as the city of Ontario is engaging in surveillance with the people of the state, including those that are elderly. The entity is doing so under a fake sun that is not at the same time in Monrovia, California, nor at any point could it possibly. This is the environment, the crime scene, where the corrupt city is exposed as engaging in a statewide pattern of conduct, and it is a public exposure of what is sacrifice amongst the demon-possessed that kill for murder. They kill and engage in what is targeting American citizens in violation of their human and constitutional rights, and they do so as corrupt businesses, not only Southwest Airlines, but that is, again, another corrupt means of the same criminal pattern of coming and picking up the elderly who are gang stalking by residents in the specific environment, while the entity maintains commercial planes over a elderly senior citizen complex. And the Ontario City Hall is back right behind the apartment complex, by the way. Paul Leon is gang stalking. So is the Ontario Fire Department, the Ontario Police Department, etc. This is P.O.C. It's 7:05 a.m. That's the demonic pattern of conduct that's stalking with light. Those are demons. That's P.O.C. That is adult day health care. Their license plate 9MEG736. They're engaging in ongoing impunity. Mana, ADHC, CBAS, that's a psychopath. That's embarrassed. You see how she's focused and knows what I'm doing? That's because she's a demon and she's gang stalking, and that's the psychopathic behavior of sex offenders, pedophiles, while they know that they're being exposed for exceedingly violent criminal conduct. And they're doing so as a means of what is deflecting. And it's a poor means of deflecting. Those are demons, okay? This is P.O.C. This is not a Kodak moment. This is the entity that's engaging in criminal, the pattern of conduct. It's 7:05 a.m. The fake sun is here 11 hours from now. This is P.O.C. All right, capturing video of the entity gang stalking, and you're mindful of what Southwest Airlines is doing, not only in other places under the fake sun, such as in LA, okay? And LAPD is stalking me by helicopter, notable and proven through the maintenance of that environment, which is, again, impossible to, in a natural environment to coexist in more than one place, to coexist even at that one place, because the sun doesn't sit over one location all day long. And then when you document that, all of a sudden, as I go to another place, then a grand departure from that documented
phenomenon. That's where the Southwest Airlines, that particular company, headquartered in Dallas, Texas, by the way, is engaging in, with impunity, ongoing domestic terrorism and psychological torture and sexual violence in furtherance of the criminal conspiracy to commit murder with the government that is gang stalking. And this is relevant to criminal conduct that Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields are going to federal prison for. This is relevant evidence with regard to the ongoing criminal efforts of trying to maintain terrorism, trying to maintain an ongoing contract on my life. They're still trying to murder me. They're still engaging in targeting. And this is what Tracy Banks is still doing today. And this is what Jason Isaac Fields is still doing today. These two demons in particular would like to represent in federal court, where they are going to be prosecuted, that they have ceased engaging in targeting, and that's a lie. And the ongoing gang stalking by the city of Ontario, by the state of California, is direct evidence of an ongoing, real-time, ongoing, not a paused or a ceased act of targeting me whatsoever. In Southwest Airlines, the Ontario Police Department, the Ontario Fire Department, American Medical Response, the people of the state that are gang stalking in concert with the city of Ontario are demonstrating and providing evidence against those demons who are going to federal prison for still targeting in a desperate and delusional effort to be in federal court, where I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to testify, and I'm going to provide even more evidence beyond this P.O.C. because they're going to prison and they're not getting out. And they are still engaging in an ongoing desperate endeavor to accomplish a murder before I go to court, which is, by the way, would be it's not going to happen, but that would still be suspicious circumstances, which would serve the government's purposes, though, because the federal government does not want to actually answer for what it is still engaging in. All right, so that's relevant to the government that's not engaging in an investigation. Neither were they. They were never engaging in an investigation. There was never any warranted investigation. Tracy Banks, Jason Isaac Fields solicited the ongoing gang stalking by the state of California pursuant to what is a long-existing criminal system, and I'm exposing that, and I'm also going to prosecute them for it. And the entity is still targeting in furtherance of murder to date. Okay, it's 7:08 a.m. Tracy Banks is still acting in furtherance of conspiracy to murder me, Erica Lorenz Spencer, and so is Jason Isaac Fields. They're going to federal prison for it. It is currently 7:08 a.m. at August 18, 2025, and this is P.O.C. The video evidence is published on the YouTube website and, on the YouTube website on my channel, which is at This Is The P.O.C., and also on my website at thisisthepoc.wordpress.com. And this is the evidence that I'm going to use because this is where the government's prosecution is happening online. There's no question about the evidence as it's captured. And the entity is going to present one thing and want to represent itself one way in court. And the evidence is clear. Neither is it a secret. And the prosecution is already complete on the internet. And it's going to be pursuant to evidence proving everything, including the ongoing criminal effort to try to accomplish a murder before you answer in court. Tracy Banks is going to federal prison for that specifically. And every sex partner, every co-conspirator with her, which includes chief of them, Jason Isaac Fields. This is All right, just a note, ongoing evidence regarding the specific facts surrounding what is direct evidence of stalking that is monitoring by a government, gang stalking. This is the criminal conspiracy of murder that Southwest Airlines is engaging in concert with the demons, the pedophiles of the Ontario Police. This is the entity that has been compensated by the demons Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields, thieves who have stolen my money and property, who are engaging in an ongoing campaign of defamation while they're counting on the gang stalking efforts of this government that I'm documenting still to date, in furtherance of the ongoing delusional effort to accomplish a murder before a federal court hearing. All right, the fake sun is present. Where the Ontario Police is crossing path, this is where the entity is stalking by commercial plane, and the fake sun is present at the Ontario Town Square at 7:10 a.m. And you'll recall that at 6:51 p.m. yesterday, after leaving Economy Inn, the fake sun is in alignment to me at this same venue where Southwest Airlines is engaging in what is the conspiracy to commit murder by gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department. Those are the demons that have committed serial kidnappings while acting in furtherance of committing murder. They're doing so with the people of the state, those that are doing so in a commercial capacity, such as every airline associated with the Ontario Police Department, and the demons that I'm showing you that are stalking at the Ontario Town Square. The third party that is gang stalking yesterday evening, she is an old biddy wearing the red sweater and the blue pants. She's doing so while the entity is gang stalking via Southwest Airlines. This is at what is 6:50 p.m. Southwest Airlines is fully surrounded with evidence of not only a demonic means of targeting and psychologically torturing and furtherance of murder, they are also engaging in surveillance of the evidence that they're targeting. This is why Southwest Airlines in particular engages in more psychopathic behavior, meaning more Southwest Airline planes engage in what are the elements of monitoring in order to harass and terrorize and threaten me as I document that particular airline. This is speaking to the knowledge and the demonic pattern of conduct of psychological torture, which is committed in furtherance of murder with the demons of the Ontario police who are crossing path today under the fake sun, 7:12 a.m. And the evidence is showing that is over 11 hours of the sun being at one environment, as though the sun would set and rise at the same address, 224 North Euclid Avenue. That's where Ontario International Airport, that is Alan D. Wapner, that is Paul Leon, that is the city of Ontario, and every aspect of the city of Ontario, that is gang stalking, and so are the people of the state. These are the demons that are engaging in that, and that's the specifics of that environment where they're sitting. These are demons who are psychopaths. They're stalking in engineered light. They're stalking under a fake sun. They're stalking amongst amplified audible activity. They're stalking in spectacular ways, such as commercial planes that are supposed to be headed toward destinations, paid for heading to those destinations, but they're engaging in donuts over me while the fake sun remains over me, and engineered light at nightfall. This is where the entity is engaged in that pattern of conduct. And the criminal conduct of the Ontario Police Department in particular is that which is exposing the entirety of that entity, and it's vice versa as well. The criminal conduct of any aspect of that public entity in that specific environment is exposing the entirety of that entity, and that's how I'm also able to surround every aspect of the entity with the pattern of conduct of what they're all doing. The people of the state stalking with audible activity that is amplified, impossible light activity under the fake sun, and at night, as you see, under a fake moon, in concert with the state that uses planes and helicopters, fire, police, and ambulance vehicles. The entity is doing the same thing with the government acting directly. Fire, police, and ambulance, gang stalking with planes and helicopters under the fake sun, stalking with impossible light activity that's coexisting with their means of amplification while they are stalking in the path. And I want to be clear, there is no presence that is lawful where the government is lacking a warrant and probable cause to engage in any means of criminal monitoring, gang stalking. The entity that's even in the sky space, even captured, and this is how I've proven well beyond that, the entity is going to be prosecuted for literally the sound of plane activity because it's accomplishing surveillance. I've gone way beyond that. This is what the entity is going to appreciate. This is what the United States is going to appreciate about domestic terrorism committed in furtherance of murder by a government that seeks to also falsely depict the character of that targeted individual. But the entity is engaging in much more than just audible activity, noise. All right, the entity is engaging in what is that pattern of conduct. Remember, the entity is stalking under the fake sun. The Ontario police are stalking on Friday at B Street and Euclid Avenue by helicopter after 6 p.m. And I'm at the same Ontario Town Square. Okay, this is where the entity is stalking. Southwest Airlines is engaging in that. And the video evidence of what I captured this morning during the 7 a.m. hour and yesterday evening at the same address at 6:51 p.m. is the evidence to prosecute Southwest Airlines for conspiring and acting in furtherance of a murder of an American citizen whom they know is documenting and publishing that evidence. And Southwest Airlines is so anti-American, is so against what are the constitutional human rights of American citizens who do not want to be pursued, who do not want to be kept under surveillance, who do not want to be sexually violated in satanic means for their profit, that they engage in more of it. And that's what Southwest Airlines in particular and every other company, because Southwest Airlines is not acting as an individual company. They represent the entire entity. All right, they provide a template in the same way that the City of Ontario, the Ontario Police Department, the entities engaging what is the provision of a template. The demons, who are the people of the state in Ontario, provide what is a template. So you are understanding how gang stalking is happening everywhere in any location, because the demons are abiding by a very precise formula, and they are doing so in an absurd environment. And then you're mindful of what they gave me on video last night. 9+ minutes of stalking in a helicopter. And then with a straight face, these imbeciles are gang stalking. Like someone forgot about that. Like the federal government isn't watching. Like there isn't already evidence of an entire laid out pattern of conduct. Those are the demons that are going to be prosecuted, okay? The sex offenders stalking in school buses. The sex offenders stalking me inside of the Chevron market. The sex offenders wearing Ontario Fire Department uniforms while they're pacing back and through the parking garage to go to the Ontario Fire Department, which is in the same plaza. Michael GERKEN, Paul Leon, Mike LORENZ, Alan D. Wapner, and the entire gang stalking Ontario City Council is going to be removed abruptly from their position. It is currently 7:17 a.m. This is P.O.C. 7:20 a.m. This is monitoring on the Ontario Wi-Fi network. Ontario, that's L&D WAPNER. And that is Southwest Airlines. Migrating as I migrate, by the way. So they are flying closer toward the 280 North Lemon Apartments at that parking garage right now while I'm seated at the where the large clock is. Southwest Airlines is targeting their plane activity, meaning crossing path, based on where I'm located. And it's where the fake sun is present right now at 7:21 a.m. and present at 6:51 p.m. where Southwest Airlines is gang stalking in the same exact environment, which is impossible. Speaking to the demons, the psychopaths that are committing sacrifices, that are engaging in what are plane crashes in the United States, they're acts of terrorism, they're not accidents. The entity that is engaging in sacrificing me tried to, and I'm publicizing it. I'm also going to prosecute Southwest Airlines for the impunity that that company exhibits while they are targeting an American citizen and targeting an American citizen that's exposing them simultaneously. It's 7:22 a.m. This is federal stalking on the Ontario Wi-Fi network, and it's occurring with simultaneity to what I'm uploading on the video on the internet, and it's also criminal facilitation of all of the above. This is also irrelevant to the crime of conspiring murder. This is P.O.C. It's 7:22 a.m. All right, the people of the state are engaging in the pattern of conduct as an entity. So if you'll recall on Friday, which was August 15, 2025, and after 6 p.m. as I leave the OVITT Family Community Library, I am subject to ongoing terrorism by the people of the state, psychopaths that are pacing all around me, stalking me, and what is absolutely impossible light manifesting out of the just thin air, and the presence of the fake sun that's still at the address that it is right now. It's 9 o'clock. I've been documenting it since the 7 a.m. hour. And the same people of the state that are gang stalking me at the intersection at B Street and Euclid on video, where the Ontario police are targeting by helicopter. That's a terrorizing threat by an entity that is stalking through a corrupt police department that also has a documented pattern of kidnapping me and lying about why they've committed kidnapping as though they're engaging in a lawful arrest with the intent to obstruct justice, because those kidnappers who are sex offenders, as you are witnessing, stalking me 24 hours a day, including at 2 o'clock in the morning under a fake moon, speaking to very severe mental illness. The entity is engaging in stalking at the same Ontario Town Square on B Street and Euclid. That's where I'm showing you the people of the state are stalking at the intersection. These are the demons that are gang stalking on video while the Ontario police are flying in helicopter over my head while I document their license plates. Those are the same predators. Those are the same demons stalking at every other venue as an entity. They're doing so while they are stalking with impossible light. And the people of the state whose license plate I captured, they are sharing in that ongoing course of conduct pursuant to psychological torture and domestic terrorism. Stalking with light is that which is occurring pursuant to monitoring. These domestic terrorists are sex offenders. These are the pedophiles that are gang stalking as I encounter them in my path, and I routinely document license plates. This is the same entity stalking with impossible light, and then the demons of the Ontario police fly in circles over my head while I am in their presence documenting them at the traffic stop. This is what you're seeing on video at Holt Boulevard and Euclid Avenue on Friday afternoon, where they are under the same fake sun at this same intersection. This is where the fake sun is setting, where I'm showing you Southwest Airlines is gang stalking me right now. And this same population, remember every license plate that I read on video, including the Upland Police Department, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, who are captured gang stalking as the same entity of sex offenders, pedophiles, terrorists that are targeting in furtherance of murder under the same exact cartoon environment, speaking to the shared mental illness, because they're all demons. And they are intentionally maintaining presence in that supernatural environment, all focusing on me. And that focal point is also proven through the pattern of conduct that the people of the state who are engaging in surveillance on the roads and the highways, which is what I'm showing you this morning, while the people of the state are gang stalking via traffic at Euclid Avenue and B Street, where you'll be mindful of what happened on Friday evening after 6 p.m., where in the natural environment, if the people of the state weren't demons who were not engaged in state surveillance and are not pedophiles engaging in a government system that has been underway for decades, then the sun would not still be here as a matter of documentation, conclusive evidence, that is, after 6 p.m. But it is. And they are. And they're doing so with impunity. And I am being terrorized with impossible light while those demons are gang stalking on the roads and the highways. This is federal stalking by the people of the state. Everybody that's driving in the state of California is engaging in state surveillance. Okay? In the same way that every business is engaging in state surveillance. The entity is engaging in this P.O.C. and it's relevant to the people of the state whose license plate I'm going to recite now. They are sharing in what is relevant positioning while the demons are engaging in what is ongoing as a matter of public corruption, ongoing domestic terrorism while they're on their way to work, while they're on their way to any destination, and they're gang stalking in the path as a population. All right. And this is how you're seeing how a bunch of demons are putting themselves in mental asylums, putting themselves in federal prison while they are gang stalking, engaging in criminal summoning as that same entity that is, again, in one video flinging light toward me while they are at a great distance away in a vehicle, okay, at that, and doing so under a fake sun with a gang stalking police department that has shown its mental illness and its ongoing lack of sanity, okay, while they are engaging in obvious criminal conduct, lacking any stealth, lacking any sophistication, lacking any intelligence. But this is good that the Ontario Police Department are ignorant criminals that are fully accustomed to murder. That's what that tells you, that they're criminals, that they murder people and they kidnap them and they've engaged in what is bullying. That's why they're so ignorant and obvious, engaging in what is very egregious terrorism. Okay, that's why there's, in other words, very dumb criminals. And that is relevant to prosecuting domestic terrorism by gang stalking police departments that are crossing path at 9:22 a.m. under the fake sun that's still here at 6 p.m. where that same department is stalking in helicopter all up and down this same street. That's why they're going to federal prison. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging in the P.O.C. license 9HYX773, 7HLV328, ALCINDY, 8FHG211, 8ZVD730, all of them gang stalking with the Ontario International Airport that I've been documenting, maintaining surveillance over this town square where the fake sun is still here 9 hours later. 8VXF855, 7ZGX461, and this is the ongoing criminal conspiracy to commit murder, while Alan D. Wapner's criminal conduct is documented here by the audible noise of planes where there are no takeoffs or landings occurring here, and no sun is going to remain over one property for 12 hours. This is the criminal conduct of Alan D. Wapner and the people of the state, including these license plates that I'm documenting, while they're engaging in what is federal stalking with the intent to obstruct justice. That is terrorizing me while they're sitting inside of Wells Fargo, aware of the fact that they're being documented, and that level of impunity is relevant to the prosecution of the pedophiles that are gang stalking in Ontario, California. License 9DFE953, license 9ENT323, and Wells Fargo located at 240 North Euclid Avenue. And the Ontario International Airport, which is located at 2500 Airport Drive, the terminals where the entity is engaging what is surveillance and stalking me specifically, as I'm showing through the specific environment, through the pattern of the entity stalking by commercial planes, following me in commercial planes wherever I migrate. That's where the ongoing demonic patrolling by commercial planes follows in that specific environment. And this is in conformity to a pattern of conduct that is shared by the Ontario Police Department as well. This is the criminal conduct of Mike LORENZ, of Alan D. Wapner, of Paul Leon, who was gang stalking with every plane, every documented act of terrorism with impossible light, every documented act of terrorism by stalking by helicopter, and demons wasting resources stalking in police vehicles. The entity is doing so as a population. Paul Leon is in relevant position, less than 500 yards away, inside of the Ontario City Hall. Okay, and he is gang stalking at the Ontario City Hall, which, let me go ahead and document that venue for you. He's engaging in the pattern of conduct with the City of Ontario. He represents the City of Ontario. That is a gang stalker, and no gang stalking mayor is remaining in office. Okay, he is literally in relevant position, even when I am in off of Mission Boulevard, at a minor distance away from the Ontario City Hall. Paul Leon is a gang stalker in relevant position. But let me be clear. I am sharing presence on this property with this demon and the office of the mayor, who is indeed a demon-possessed, gang-stalking fake pastor and a criminal that is engaging in domestic terrorism while presenting as a mayor of a city that is engaging in state surveillance. And it is all out mental illness that's exposed, and it's shared by these corrupt officials who are engaging in a satanic means of targeting while they are engaging in and facilitating, enabling a system of pedophilia. Okay, this is what's relevant to the gang stalking underway in the city of Ontario. And the City Hall in Ontario, where the entity is maintaining ongoing patrolling by the Ontario City Airport. This is speaking to knowledge that Paul Leon maintains, and he is going to be removed from office. And it's the same with the knowledge regarding the gang stalking by the police, and also using helicopter, including while I am at his office and I'm subject to this terrorism. This is all sitting on the record, where the fake sun is remaining over me at his office in the morning, in the afternoon, into the evening. This is sitting on the record. He is being removed from office, including while I'm documenting the gang stalking population, the gang stalkers who are the residents of the city of Ontario. Domestic terrorism is underway by the pedophiles who fill the city of Ontario. And the Ontario City Hall is located at 303 East B Street in Ontario, California. And you can look at a map. You can look at an aerial view of the map, and you will see the steps away that the Ontario Town Square is from the Ontario City Hall, from the OVITT Family Community Library, where I have captured all manner of domestic terrorism and psychological torture that the Ontario City Hall, that the Mayor of Ontario, Paul Leon, is directly engaged in. Okay, it is federal stalking that Paul Leon is engaging in, and he's being removed from office. It is currently 9:27 a.m. This is P.O.C. All right, it is currently the sound of a cough occurs with simultaneous recording. These are psychopaths that you are seeing in Engineer Light. These are demons that are sitting around stalking. Those are the demons that are stalking with light outside, stalking with a helicopter at 2 in the morning, stalking and doing so with amplified audible activity. And this is being surrounded by a bunch of dead people who are engaging, keeping you under surveillance, doing all of that inside of one library. This is what's happening under the fake sun at OVITT Family Community Library. And that's the psychopathic behavior of the demon-possessed that are gang stalking at OVITT Family Community Library at 215 East C Street in Ontario, California. It's relevant documentation of the demented behavioral pattern. The entity is engaging in what is ongoing harassment also by sensational activity. The demon that are sitting next to you, engaging in what is monitoring you, stalking you as though they're reading something and focusing on something else. That level of mental illness is exhibited by the psychopaths that are engaging in gang stalking with the entity. The entity is engaged in gang stalking, so I'm going to include, you are able to see the specific environment. They're all sitting around coughing and sitting around as though they're engaged in studying anything, doing anything other than monitoring. These are demons. These are the demons that are under a fake sun. Engineer Light flies about when they're driving cars under that fake sun. That's supernatural. These are psychopaths, and these are stalkers. These are the same pedophiles that are gang stalking surrounding inside of the venue. The entities, in doing so, I want to make sure that I capture the license plates of the entity that is tracking my steps on a ceaseless basis, following everywhere and engaging in surveillance inside of the venue, which is the library, where a sex offender engages in what is simultaneous noise creation with the operation of my device. And that is a demon that engages in the maintenance of audible noise occurring through what you hear is a simultaneous cough. This is the demented pattern of conduct. It's P.O.C. License HBOD123 or HB00123, actually. Yeah. License plate 11092W2. This is a commercial vehicle, CBRE. They're present under the fixed sun at 10:08 a.m. and the fake sun is still over this venue, as I've already captured. It's 5:11 p.m. And that's giving context regarding psychopaths that stalk you with noise while they are engaging in nothing other than surveillance around you. And then the demented mind that would engage in that in the first place, that's the entity that's engaging in what is pedophilia, while gang stalking is underway by that same entity, doing so with the same gang stalking city of Ontario, using planes and helicopters, fire, police, and ambulance, and engaging in surveillance inside of the building. It's concentrated P.O.C. inside of this library. License plate 82278C4.
6TLS 398, AXA 8TO. And that's a commercial vehicle. That's Frontier Communications gang stalking under the 10:08 a.m. fake sun, where the fake sun is still present at 5:12 p.m. It's still present at the same entrance, which I've already captured this pattern of conduct. This is how I'm able to capture the fake sun while these psychopaths are the ones pacing in and out of the entrance while they're stalking. They're not casually walking in and out, they're stalking and monitoring obsessively. While they're doing so on video for the world to see, the demon-possessed that are gang stalking, engaging in surveillance with the government and furtherance of murder and kidnapping as a system of organized crime. And they're literally the living dead. These are puppets of Satan. License 9RAA209, 7YVN483, 6FDT391, 8UAZ428, 4UTU048, 8ZSV287, 9BJP686, 8MTP208, 6VZR120, 7BNA627, 9JGH561, 8WAS626, 9TIM096. These demons were molesting me with impossible light while they were driving east and west on Lemon Avenue prior to entrance into the OVITT Family Community Library, many of whom include the demons that are still engaging in stalking inside of this venue, where the demon possessed are doing nothing other than ongoing surveillance, coming in and out and maintaining presence inside of the library. The entity is engaged in an ongoing sacrifice. It's a failed sacrifice, and the entity is demon possessed. They're mentally ill, so they're still persisting. And first of all, what's widely publicized all over the internet, while the feds are watching them engaging in stalking and exhibiting mental illness with regard to diagnosing a population of gang stalkers who are mentally sick and their demon possession, the evidence of it, while the federal government is watching them stalking me. They're also, and this is public corruption that's being exposed, and they're still engaging in what is obsessively stalking as an entity while they're being prosecuted, okay? And this is government action. License 31754Y1, 9ECA744. Ontario Municipal Utilities, they were gang stalking, surrounding the perimeter with flashing light this morning as I went from the Ontario Town Square across the street to the OVITT Family Community Library, and the fake sun remained over my head as I walked across that street in the same manner that I documented where Southwest Airlines is gang stalking as a means of what is state surveillance, engaging in what is an ongoing, albeit failed sacrifice, because number one, it's public. Number two, the feds are watching. Number three, they're not going to accomplish the objective, but it remains a criminal system underway and an unlawful threat that they are continuously engaging in. Then they represent the government that's going to be prosecuted for that impermissible threat. So the entity is, in other words, these demons that are gang stalking in a library that's relevant to diagnosing their mental illness. That they are proceeding and progressing in a criminal pattern of conduct as though they're going to accomplish a sacrifice that they're not going to. That's a threat by the government. That's acting in furtherance of a conspiracy to commit murder. All right, and that's what's relevant regarding psychopaths that sit around hitting objects, inexplicable sensational activity regarding the desk that mysteriously shakes while a demon who is stalking reading comic books when they likely cannot even read, and they're sitting around in engineered light while the fake sun remains over the library all day long, while they're pacing around inside of that venue, okay, with absurd light activity. Those are the demons that are gang stalking inside of the library and the so-called quote-unquote family community. It's a community of demons engaging in what is sexually perverted conduct, which is the P.O.C. The entity is gang stalking with Southwest Airlines on video during the 7 a.m. hour, and like I stated is the case, at 10 a.m. that fake sun is still at the same venue over my head as I walk to the entrance of the same exact OVITT Family Community Library. And Ontario Municipal utilities is stalking in the path with flashing light in concert with the City of Ontario. That is in alignment to me, and I took a screenshot to show the surrounding conduct of demons who are engaging in what is the method of flashing of light, which is relevant to surveillance, identifying, and it's also relevant to witnessing mental illness. This is demonic conduct, very demented behavior, while demons surround me in the engineered environment with methods of flashing light while they're stalking. License 1573144. And the other license plate includes Ontario Municipal Utilities. That's the City of Ontario gang stalking. License 1589188. California exempt license plates, which is representing the government, engaging in what is the use of utility vehicles, the municipality itself engaging in criminal surveillance, the malicious guise of that pattern of conduct, which is also exhibiting mental illness, the psychopathic and malicious pattern of conduct. The entity is also targeting license 7ZQX511. License KXT9781, that's a Texas plate. 6EVL843. 5PLB570. 5NOZ723. 9PXG475. 9GUR059. The gang stalking Jehovah Witnesses. These are demons. And this is letting you know about, again, false religions, while they serve Satan and preach to you about a God that is not the true and living God, who is certainly not engaging in what is this satanic system of monitoring while trying to sell to you a false religion. That's what the Jehovah's Witnesses are doing under the fake sun at 10:13 a.m. And it's not the first time that they've been engaged in gang stalking. It's relevant to the cult that is the Jehovah's Witnesses. That is a cult, and they're engaged in a false religion. They do not know the Lord Jesus Christ, and that's why their members are engaging in the satanic targeting system. License 8BGR117. And they're doing just the same as every other non-believing hell-bound demon, okay? Because they engage in what is advertising, if you will, espousing a false religion. It is as ungodly as those that don't know Christ at all and don't know anything about any sort of false religion, which is another form of idolatry, because you are always worshiping something. But nonetheless, it's not the true and living God. And the Jehovah's Witnesses are demons under the fake sun monitoring me this morning. And the fake sun is over the same entrance. And I'm capturing demons that are pacing into the entrance. And the entity is engaging in what is ongoing sexual violence, ongoing obsessive surveillance. Everything that's happening in this library is centered around me. That's what's so demented about the demon possessed that are gang stalking. They're doing so with regard to what is a contract. These are demons that engage in what is a contract, essentially, to take the life of an American citizen that they are keeping under surveillance with the government. This is a failed sacrifice, and that's why I'm publishing every aspect of it. And it's also relevant to the diagnosis of mental illness, because this is how prosecution for this system of domestic terrorism is going to be treated under federal law. The diagnosis and the criminal conviction for domestic terrorism, and what is the program of psychological torture. And this is all happening under the what is, again, the solicitation of Tracy Banks, the people of the state, and Jason Isaac Fields, who are the reason why the people of the state, the entity, has been paid through property money that belongs to me, and the false hopes of sacrificing me. Still gang stalking when it's not going to happen. And this is relevant to the mentally ill that are pursuing you and stalking you. Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields are going to federal prison for that. I still remain subject to the damages inherent to having a mentally ill population obsessively monitor you, including those that are in government. The Ontario City Hall remains in relevant position, gang stalking with the psychopaths that are stalking inside of this library, sitting all around and walking all around, engaging in surveillance, is absolutely demented conduct. And they also share concentration with regard to focusing on my vagina inside of that private space of the bathroom in here as well, where it is a place of surveillance where the same demented obsession regarding my every minor move. All right, it is currently 5:21 p.m. This is P.O.C. at OVITT Family Community Library. This is the pattern of conduct shared by every employee. It's nothing other than a malicious guise for the same exact pattern of conduct, same criminal iteration of the elements of monitoring.
in the same environment, and there is no difference with regard to that P.O.C. shared by a population. It is public corruption, and it is an egregious offense with regard to that sex offense inherent to that P.O.C. It's 5:21 p.m. P.O.C.
License 5P1Y936, molesting. That's a sex offender waiting to touch in the middle of the night. This is why the Ontario Police is being disbanded. This is sexual violence. The mens rea behind that, the mind state behind that, wanting to touch someone in the same way that you don't go around lurking in the dark, waiting to touch someone's genitalia without their consent. This is what the entity is doing with regard to engineered light in order to engage in surveillance. Doing so upon my exit, which all of the entity is sitting around stalking, waiting for me to walk out. License 9PND805, molesting. They're sex offenders together, molesting together. License. And this is the OVITT Family Community Library that's still sharing in that. And this is while the government is sitting around stalking in planes and helicopters. 8WBX 308. 320 North Euclid Avenue. That would be the Ontario downtown luxury apartments. Those are all sex offenders. In every apartment building, they're being prosecuted, documented as an apartment complex, third-party facilitating venue. SBF 3963, that's a Georgia plate. African-American woman. She's a sex offender molesting me while she's engaged in gang stalking with the state. She's engaged in federal stalking and operation of her communication device. She has short little dookie braids in her hair. 7MBU324. And it is currently license 6CEC574. And it's currently 9 o'clock. I walked out at 9 o'clock on the dot. P.O.C. Currently 9:13 p.m. ARCO at 434 North Euclid Avenue is engaging in the sex offense of molesting me with impossible light activity while it is indeed stalking me. The establishment is stalking while that specific environment is following me as I am then leaving the library, and I'm in relevant position to ARCO where I'm being molested with impossible light. And demons that are on the property of ARCO are engaging in what are EB79W06, that's a paper plate. Engaging in what is the demented conduct, and it's also sexual violence. The entity is engaging in what is the unlawful touching of your person for the criminal purpose of surveillance. And in the same way that the entity is not going to touch you with any extension of their person or their actual hands or any other part of their body without your consent and knowledge, the entity is doing this with engineered light that's not even naturally happening while they're engaging in the criminal engagement and monitoring you so that they can keep you under surveillance in order to ultimately murder you. You're going to prosecute that sex offender. The entity is always molesting the person, and this is what ARCO is engaging in while demons on that property are gang stalking with ARCO, and then they're engaging in what is molesting and then speeding off. Those are sex offenders. Those are the pedophiles that are gang stalking. That's the typical coward that's gang stalking, keeping their back to you. They're sex offenders stalking you while they are engaging in what is psychopathic behaviors such as light manifesting out of nowhere. And then when you capture close-up images of them, they like to look perplexed like, what is going on? I don't know what you're talking about. That's Satan, and that is a psychopath. All right, and that is the entity that's engaged in that sexual violence, ARCO, and including, this is the third party sex offender is license 7HWK195. Again, 7HWX, 195. That's a Nissan Altima. That's a sex offender molesting with impossible light while their co-defendants flash and run. Okay, this is the entity that is engaging in that criminal conduct. ARCO is not going anywhere, and neither is the entity that is engaging in gang stalking as an entire city, for example. That entity is engaging in it. The public officials that are being removed from office and being prosecuted, they're not going anywhere. The demons that are already on the record, specifically identified, which the ordinary target individual American citizens, you don't have to document thousands of people like I have. Okay, but they're not going anywhere. That's my point. The rest of the entity that's gang stalking, the entity is again psychopathic and delusional. Okay, as delusional as stalking at that same venue for 9 minutes in helicopter, and everybody that's engaged in purchasing there, while the feds are watching them engage in gang stalking, knows exactly who they are. While the demons who are delusional are focusing on me, the feds are focusing on them. They are watching me investigate the government and maintain my own exposure and a prosecution for regarding justice that I am entitled to and I'm going to get. Okay, I want to document the rest of these license plates. License 6JZ0538.
License 92900D4, keeping the white van with the lights in the parking lot is a means of stalking with light. Demons are psychopaths, and they're maintaining this engineer light. This obsession with light is pursuant to surveillance. And it's also revealing what is closeted mental illness. This ongoing fixation with light, this ongoing pattern of light activity, this ongoing coexistence of impulsive light activity with their presence. This is speaking to mental illness that you are also able to identify. And that's mental illness that's relevant for the safety of other people, okay? Yes, for the safety of themselves, but the demon-possessed, the psychopaths, they can be locked away, and they need to be locked away because they are a threat to other people. Remember, this mental illness is one that is particularly psychopathic. These are the demon-possessed that have an impulse, they have a desire, even a sexual fantasy with inflicting harm on other people, okay? And this is the desire of that population that also derives pleasure from doing it, what they called themselves before, in some sort of elite manner, in a way that nobody else knows what's going on but that person that's being targeted. And a lot of times even that target individual doesn't know what's going on. And this is feeding the ego of the psychopaths that are deriving sexual gratification and ongoing pleasure from stalking, monitoring, terrorizing another person. That type of mental illness is what needs to be recognized, and it is recognizable through the environment and that behavior in that environment. Remember, in a natural environment, walking back and forth is walking back and forth. Okay, you're loading and unloading like me. I'm not a demon, and I'm not monitoring anybody, and I don't know what's going on with your genitalia in the bathroom. Okay, which you'll know through my pattern of conduct of minding my business. Okay, not some delusional psychopath that's got a demon on me, and I'm looking at you while I keep my back to you, having my entire focus on you, which you know, while the fake sun is over your head and I'm targeting you. Okay, those are the demons that are engaging in exposing their mental illness while they are obsessed with this light activity, while they're keeping you under surveillance. Okay, license plate. Stalking with Starbucks and doing so with minor children. If this is a gang stalking immigrant, deportation. 8MVW462, and wanted to be documented like a delusional psychopath, while this demon knew that I was documenting, and she walks right into the line of fire. This is a Latina female. She's engaging in the pattern of conduct with impunity. And again, gang stalking immigrants are being deported. 5ZOT771. Starbucks is located at 507 North Euclid Avenue. All right, this is P.O.C. It's currently 9:19 p.m. All right, any purchase with Starbucks is going to result, that's the ongoing federal RICO case. The employees at Starbucks are monitoring, and it's the same analysis with any business, by the way. The employees at Starbucks are monitoring. The patrons of Starbucks are monitoring. The demons that are outside all around on the property of Starbucks, which is providing a way for the ongoing criminal system to occur. The presence of that business is a threat to the public. That's the federal RICO case. Okay, against corrupt businesses, corporations that are pandering to terrorists like this third party whose license plate I documented. All right, this is the entity that's engaging in that, and that's the ongoing psychopathic pattern of conduct. The entity's doing that same thing, by the way, at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning while they're obsessing with molesting me with light. This demon is doing it during Starbucks' open hours. And so what's the difference? Instead of just sitting on the side of the road with light aimed on me like a psychopath and a sex offender, she's going to then hop out and go buy a drink from Starbucks. That's a very negligible difference. It's relevant to a federal RICO case, however, okay? But nonetheless, it's currently 9:20 p.m. This is P.O.C. And I want to document the rest of the license plates that I encountered. License 7RCK848. Alrighty, and it is currently 9:20 p.m. Again, Chevron at 506 North Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California. 91762 is targeting Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California, where there's substantial video documentation of my being targeted inside of that venue. And you know that it is a pattern of conduct, all manner of evidence that's already sitting on the record. So literally, that's just the foolishness that they are engaging in. Like I said, no mystery, and the entity is witnessing as I'm exposing public corruption and mental illness and sexual violence by the demon possessed, which you are able to identify. You're not blinded to them. You're not blinded to the ways in which they conduct themselves and how they would like to present. But I'm showing you even the way they present, that's not even normal or persuasive when you are getting beyond all of the illusions. It's currently 9:21 p.m. This is P.O.C. That's the entity gang stalking. That same third party is stalking with Alan D. WAPNER's criminal engagement in that P.O.C. by maintaining commercial planes. All right, and that's the significance of being molested with impossible light. That's the significance of the entity stalking where I'm located, where the entity was stalking by helicopter for 9 minutes. This is the entity that's flying over E Street in Euclid, miles away from 2500 Airport Drive, no longer concentrating plane activity over the Ontario Town Square like Southwest Airlines is this morning, repeatedly, like I captured in images, targeting with plane activity where I'm located, because demons that are engaging in what is a sacrifice are stalking by definition as I go from place to place in the city of Ontario, where no arrivals or departures from the airport includes hovering over this intersection, and also the pattern of everywhere that I'm going in a specific environment, the entity is hovering over my head in planes. That's the entity that is engaged in criminal conduct that is attributed to Alan D. WAPNER's removal from office and exposure as a domestic terrorist in the United States. It's currently 9:22 p.m. This is P.O.C. ATM 776. P.O.C. All right, ongoing gang stalking at Euclid and E, where you will see the entity maintaining aerial surveillance in concert with the people. License 9LX CZ 9LXC 286 CWF 2100. That's Arizona, by the way. The entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct. It's quite laughable as the entity turns the lights. Literally, the traffic lights are a means of monitoring me. So I've established this already. The pattern of conduct is surveillance on the roads and the highways. 6C FC 101, I believe. License 8ZEY 305. License, let me get these two demons over here. And it's currently 9:28 p.m. Engaging in transactions with Starbucks is the same criminal monitoring. They add in buying a coffee drink. That's it. License 6SPT 526 and 7JCC 850. P.O.C. They're so funny. They be running, boy. Running. It's so funny. As I start processing the podcast, more demons, they're like cockroaches with lights on their vehicles at night. More cockroaches surface on the side of the road on Euclid Avenue. License plate 9GAU 751, surveillance. License plate 9TFD 332, surveillance. License plate 9 NFJ 331, surveillance. And a molestation by Chevron at 506 North Euclid Avenue on surveillance cameras. Those are demons that know that they're being documented. I'm not documenting a bunch of innocent people. I'm documenting cockroaches who are severely mentally ill, a population of them. And because of that, the government's going to be prosecuted for an ongoing conspiracy to murder me while they are keeping me under surveillance. And this is why Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields are going to federal prison. It is currently 9:33 p.m. This is criminal conduct that is occurring at the solicitation of Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields. This is public corruption. It's all state action, but it is occurring at the solicitation of these terrorists, these sex offenders who are also gang stalkers, acting with this entity that I'm documenting right now, stalking on the side of the road as I document and capture license plates. They engage in moving, driving away as I document. They engage in molesting me with impossible light. You already know that that's intent. First of all, it's supernatural. Obviously, there is an intention to engage in a supernatural occurrence. It's also an intention when that supernatural occurrence happens as a matter of a pattern of conduct. And it's also speaking to what is a pattern as it occurs with simultaneity to my documentation. And this is also not documentation of innocent people or innocent normal people. 9RKR 685. And then you have the body of evidence of the government stalking directly as a police department, as a fire department, as an airport. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging in sharing that condition, which is mental illness. When I'm letting you know about what is the spiritual condition, which you see the evidence of, you see the fake sun by yourself. So I'm not telling you a fable that they're all demons They are, and you are able to see it themselves, and this is a population that's hostile to that, and that's also relevant to, again, the bloodthirsty nature of the mentally ill who are gang stalking and no longer gang stalking in any corner in this country, in the United States, ever again, based on the P.O.C. and the prosecution that you're witnessing of a failed sacrifice. The entity is engaging in this, however, and is doing so while they are necessarily aware. That's getting to the original allegation that I stated. This is criminal surveillance, it's stalking by a government, and it's stalking with the government that is acting through the people. This is speaking to the illusion of having the separation between the privacy that American citizens are entitled to, such as private property and public property, such as the state and the people that have a contract with the government. That's a whole illusion where the entities engage in the pattern of conduct. It's public corruption, and the government is acting through the people. They're not exercising privacy rights, and they are intentionally maintaining that status in the United States with regard to maliciously targeting American citizens. It is psychopathic. That level of malice and that level of corruption is also your evidence of what is mental illness, demons, very malicious. License 14310A3, again, 9KRK685, pacing in and out of Starbucks, doing so with regard to monitoring. They're all on, you see the light activity? They're on engineer light. This is all surveillance. And they're doing so with regard to the ongoing maintenance of venues everywhere that I'm going. 9FXC320. 9NIC090, which is how you know a population is stalking me. 9GWG180, and they're all pedophiles. 8WDK231. Walmart, you already know that they're gang stalking. They also are on the roads and the highways. 7459LA, Walmart is driving an has an out-of-state license plate on that vehicle. Walmart is engaging in the pattern of conduct on the roads and the highways. And also, when you're dealing with demons, Walmart is representing what is a logo that's engaging in a satanic targeting system. So I've documented this before. As I identify Satan that's using a logo, Satan will engage in repeatedly crossing my path with that same logo, while Satan is aware that it has been identified. This is how the entity, as you pay attention to that pattern, and I do not always point it out because I want you to recognize it yourself. All right? The entity is engaging in what is surveillance of the evidence, and the government's going to be prosecuted for that. There's a whole other level of violation by a terrorist in the United States that will then engage in more terrorism because the federal government, has the audacity to document you and prosecute you, because that's what I represent. That's what any American citizen represents when the state has become the domestic enemy, and you will enforce your rights against that domestic enemy. You're going to document it. And you're doing so with regard to what is the enforcement under what is supremacy, federal law. License 9JXV572, and the trigger demons start sounding plain activity. 9PCP353, Alan D. WAPNER's removal from office. 7RBA 909. And those are the demons that lack self-control, because it's obvious with regard to the removal of a domestic terrorist, Alan D. WAPNER, who was very much aware that the ongoing, he's not only aware of the documentation, but he's aware that planes are in locations where I'm documenting, the level of disruption that I'm documenting, the frequency that I'm documenting, and the absence of that conduct on the Ontario International website. He's aware of all of that. And even if this demon were to deny it, he's going to be removed from office, period, because no gang stalking president of the airport authority, no gang stalking mayor is going to stay in office. Period. The entity's engaging in that, and it's not a coincidence. The moment that I speak to something that the demons are triggered by, the demons engage in a method of activity. They do so in an obvious manner when the airport is miles away, and when you're taking off from an airport that is miles away, you are not hovering over Euclid Avenue and E Street. But there's also a sun that doesn't sit over Euclid Avenue and E Street, nor anywhere in the natural environment for 12 hours. And that's also how you know that Alan D. WAPNER is a demon, and he's exposed with regard to prosecuting and exposing that, removing domestic terrorists who are mentally ill from office, and that is Alan D. WAPNER. This corruption is happening on his watch, which he's fully apprised of, okay? It is currently, again, 9:38 p.m. This is P.O.C.